me try that again. Welcome back to Glass is in Session. Today we're going to be doing a Wren. As usual, edges, wire reinforcement, and an eye. Oh, and a hook too. That's important. Very important. Otherwise you can't hang the bird up. So, this piece looks pretty secure. Tail, it does have a V wedge here. The edges form a V, but you know, it's still sticking out pretty far. So I'm going to put wire reinforcement on there, but I could probably get away with that piece. And obviously the beak, because it's placed right on the edge. But the rest of the pieces are good. They don't really need any wire reinforcement. So I'm going to start out with my blocks. Handy dandy prisms. Got my solder nice and hot. Got a good sizzle going on the damp sponge. Okay. Get some wire, run it through the towel. That straightens and cleans it. Very important. We'll start at the top of the head. I'm gonna bend it a little bit to match with the head, but before I try and match too much of it to the curve of the edge, I'm gonna put a pin on it so that it doesn't move as much. So the wire doesn't move as much. Okay, it's not working with me because every time I lift up the iron, the wire wants to leave. So I need to use my pliers to hold it down until it hardens. There. Much better pin there. So now, I actually need to melt it again because the excess solder got below the wire, and the wire's not able to go down onto the piece. Love these complications. So I need to melt that, push the wire down. I have too much solder. That's what the issue here is. Too much solder, and the bird keeps wanting to go down whenever I press on him. Stop it. Melt the solder. Push that wire down. Okay, that's sufficient. I'll be able to hide the wire now with that much underneath the solder. Okay, and I'm going to press the wire down where the beak begins. Make sure it's centered. And let's pin the wire to the beak here. There we are. It's a good pin. Curve the wire down. Ooh, wire's a bit hot there. I'm going to use my pliers to hug the wire to the edge. That's actually perfect when I press on it. But as soon as I lift up the pressure, it leaves where I want it to be. Pretty frustrating. It's like a really, really clingy girlfriend. The wire is fine when you're with it, but as soon as you leave, I don't know, that's probably a really poor analogy, but it came to mind. No, I'm not dealing with any clingy girlfriends. Okay, it's not centered now. I need it in the middle. Did I not flex it? I thought I did. It's not sticking to the wire. Solder's just staying right on the iron. Happy as a lark. Come on, get on there. Got it. Okay. Just had to make contact. I'm going to end the wire past this neck piece. Just for more stability there. You could take the wire all the way around the bird, but that's not necessary. It'd be a waste of wire. Still, it would make it stronger. It's just not necessary. It's extra, as we millennials say, apparently. Yep, let's keep iron in my right hand. Okay, I'm going to press the wire against the edge. Bam. Good pin. Alright. Success. Let's tackle that tail now. Which is a little bit easier by the looks of it, as long as he doesn't rock on his belly again. Yeah, let's straighten this out a bit. Here we are. I don't really want to go around the whole tail, but that would prevent me from having to start again. First I need to bend it into place. Go ahead and get some flux there. Since it's already in my right hand, I'm going to pick up the iron with my left, but I am right-handed, so this is not that easy. Okay, got that pinned in place. Don't want to drop the wire because that's going to bend it. I'll have to unbend it to get it to point upward again. Flux. Always flux. Flux first. There we go. Got a nice wide pin there. Thanks to the solder running downhill while it's melted, it pinned a large area for me. Let's pin it at the top there. I have not fluxed it, but hopefully the solder will still stick a little bit. There we go. Looks horrible, but it works. Absolutely horrid. Okay, so this is definitely more than I need. Well, actually, that's not more than I need. That's about exactly how much I need. So I'm going to get rid of this spool so it stops dragging the wire down. You're going to stay upright? Is that okay, buddy? Okay. He's balancing on his beak right now, so let's hope that applying pressure doesn't mess me up here. Ooh, that's warm. I feel like it's worthy to note that wire reinforcement is my least favorite part of stained glass. My favorite part is cutting glass. That's really fun and very, very tricky to get it to cut the way you want it to. That's my favorite part. It'll be a while before I go back to that because I'm on a 33 bird project. Cut out 33 birds and I gotta solder them all. Soldering's not too bad. It's this wire reinforcement that's annoying. But it's very necessary to ensure stability for these sun catchers. Okay, and we're done with wire reinforcement. Good stuff. I'm thinking I want the hook right here, and this is definitely the front. You can see the streaks of brown here. They're matching here, here, and here. Really beautiful glass, so this is definitely the back. I could put the wire along the edge, but there's less support there because then the wire, while it's hanging, has some upward pull, and I don't want it to pull the foil off the glass. So I'm going to put it in line with the solder. Here's my wire. So I'm going to use a pencil, round around the edge. Done this 100 times. You can even see on the pencil it's like tightened in that area because of the pressure from the wire. It's kind of cool. Very gradual progression of something, like erosion, you know. Okay, I'm going to pinch the two legs together. Then I'm going to rotate the legs downward Try and get them as close as I possibly can and as flat as I possibly can so that it's easy to hide them underneath the solder. Don't want this to show. Okay, now I need to bend the legs in accordance with the solder line. Again, so they're hidden, they don't stick out. Good. Let's get some flux on there. Melt it. I'm going to use my pliers because I don't want to be burned while holding this. Plus, pliers are a little less shaky than my hand. I'm going to try and melt this, push the wire down into the solder. Come on. There we go. I got some movement downward. Good, 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 good. Okay. Oh, it poked back up. I need to hold it now that it's in place so it's buried, because it can still move out while it's melted. There we are. Beautiful. I'm going to turn it a little bit upward here. The hook. I'm going to turn it upward, trying not to ruin the circle so that it's a bit more accessible to the hook. Yeah, I did mess up my circle a little bit, but it's worth it so that it hangs properly. Okay, let's do the eye next. I usually do the eye at the end, but I don't know, I feel like doing the eye now. So I'm just going to put very small dot solder on the line without merging it into the bird. Oh, silly me. That's not where the eye goes. So I'm going to actually merge that into the line. The eye goes one line down. There we go. That looks a lot more natural. It scared me for a second. Didn't look real at all. That looks a lot more believable. Yeah. Okay, let's do the other side. Doing the right line this time. Don't have to do both sides. If you're hanging in a window or something up high, you can't really see the outside that much, but this one I don't mind being on the low side. Some pieces I don't want people to see the other side, so I will put it high up so they can only like barely see the outline. Okay, and last but not least, the edges. So I'm going to hold the bird in a towel so that when the heat makes its way across the lead lines, because lead is a metal which is heat conductible. So when the heat travels through these lead lines to the bottom, it won't be burned. Plus, it's nice not to have flux all over my hands. It's not sticky, it's just like goo, and it doesn't feel great. I'm one of those people that has to wash their hands if they get syrup on their hands. Alright, I'm actually going to need a lot more solder than that. There we go. Clean off my iron. I'm just going to throw the solder on first. I'm not going to worry about creating a smooth edge right now because I don't want to have to re-smoothen my edge when I put more solder on. So right now I am just placing solder on the areas that I laid flux down on. I will smoothen the line prior to moving on to a different section of the bird. That wire's sticking up a little bit here. I don't want it to poke through the solder, so I'm going to push it down against the edge. There we are. If it does poke through, then you can take a file to it. The wire is susceptible to files. If you have one with that's rough enough. So I'm not even worried about the solder running along the edge, following gravity. So again, I'm not worried about a smooth line right now. I just want to put it on. Okay, now I'm worried about a smooth line. So I'm going to start at the beginning of this line. Now I have to wait for it to cool before I shift the orientation. I don't want it to run. It's very slow. You gotta be slow. So instead he actually does win the race, because if you speed with this, then the solder will run down the edge and you have to redo it. Not a lot of fun. The solder's pretty dirty. Should have cleaned it a couple times. By brushing against the sponge, that is. A little bit more. I did brush across it, spreading it out. So it makes sense that I need more now. Beautiful. I'm waiting for it to cool. You can tell it goes from shiny to more of a faded, less glossy, kind of like matte. If you ever see a car with a paint finish that's matte, it's not shiny at all. Kind of looks like that. Okay, let's lay down some more solder, clean my iron. I'm going to switch it up a bit and smoothen the line as I go. Just kind of helps keep it interesting. Yes, I probably have to re-smoothen places where I add solder to, but you know, if you do the same thing over and over, it gets really repetitive and kind of dull. So I like to mix up how I'm soldering sometimes. Okay, I gotta rotate him so that the edge I'm soldering is level with the ground. Rather, it's whichever way gravity is pulling. You know, if gravity pulled to the side, then that would affect which direction you hold him. So it's not really the ground, it's just whichever way gravity's pulling it, you want to angle it opposite that so that it doesn't run. Kind of cool if gravity pulled us sideways. Make it a lot easier to walk places. See, on the ground might be a bit difficult though. Say we stick with down for gravity. Okay. Let me just reorient him here. He's probably going to be pretty hot. I'm trying to touch the largest piece because it's going to be the least hot. Glass does not conduct heat well at all, but it does a little bit. So I usually try and touch the bigger pieces. They hold less heat. Plus that big piece is right in the middle of it, so it's definitely going to be the coolest. Okay, got a hook, got an eye. After I clean up the solder lines, this guy will be done. So you can see I'm shaking it up again, just placing the solder on instead of worrying about cleaning it up. Just It's really whatever you feel like. As long as it gets the job done, just do it however you want. Again, as long as it gets the job done. If I decided that it'd be fun to flick solder onto the edge, that would probably take a really long time to get a smooth line. I hate to say it's impossible, but it probably is to, flick solder off the iron onto the line. But hey, if that floats your boat, go for it. A little bit more here on the beak. Okay. Edge is complete. Ooh, hang on. There we go. Edge is complete. Now I need to clean up where the solder lines meet the edge, because when you solder the edge, it melts the solder line and it backs up, down toward the ground, toward where gravity's pulling, like we just talked about. So I'm going to clean up where the solder lines meet the edge. Then he'll just about be done. I'll probably check the edges again at these spots to make sure that I don't overcorrect them. Pointing my iron up, because less of it is touching the solder, so it's less heat. A bit more there. These lines here are kind of flat. I'm noticing that now. So I just thickened them up a bit as I did the edge. Okay, that side looks good. Clean up these sides. Using the corner of this soldering iron right now. This line's really flat. Let me add some solder here. That was me picking up a couple beads of solder that flicked off. Okay, cleaned up all the parts where the solder line meets the edge. Now let me check the edge. That's a little rough here. Much better. Just a touch here. Good, 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 good. I like it, I like it, I like it, I like it. I don't like that. Much better. Also, I keep forgetting to clean my iron. This is really dirty solder. It's going to make my job harder during polishing, but it won't affect it too badly. Okay, and our Wren is complete. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm going to clean this guy off, get the flux off, and then start another video. So thanks again for watching, and you all have a lovely day if you don't watch another one.